Our nation has always counted on us to win, to fight for what better could be, to secure our future together. We are Marines. We were made for this.
You're listening to the Archaeology Podcast Network.
You have my sword.
And you have my bow.
And my trowel. Hello, you're listening to episode 55 of And My Trowel, where we look at the fantastic side of archaeology and the archaeological side of fantasy. I'm Ash.
And I'm Tilly.
And Tilly, I have a random question.
Yeah, shoot.
How much do you know about demons?
Ooh, kinds of demons? Because, there's so many different types of demons.
What about Korean demons?
Oh, absolutely nothing.
That's what I was afraid of. So, here's the solution. You see that box over there?
The one that's full of assorted materials and object types that seem to emit a kind of smoky, eerie aura?
That's the one. That was sent to us by the Jinu Preservation Society for us to include on the upcoming exhibition.
Ah, you mean the exhibition on dokkaebi through the ages?
Yeah, exactly. So this society believe that at least one of the items in this box has been possessed by a demon, and therefore before they send them away for the final, curatorial team, we should go through and make sure each item is conserved to the right level for inclusion in the exhibition. Mm-hmm. And if it is possessed by a demon, it's going to cause too many issues, I don't think.
Oh, okay. So, conservation, check for demon possession. Well, okay, it sounds like we need to find someone who has experience with, conservation, maybe experience with, Korean artifacts and mythology, and, experience with possessed artifacts of some sort.
Roll for investigation.
It's at 19.
Way!
Hey, guys.
Oh my goodness! Jess! How amazingly convenient of you to visit us right now.
Who is it at the door, Ash?
It's Jessica Van Dam! Oh! Art conservator who helped us with that tricky portrait of Gorian Dre last year.
What an incredible coincidence.
So, Jess, what have you been up to?
Oscar. I should just say this right now.
I mean, it's so obvious, but yes,
so
we should get an Oscar.
Yes,
what have you been up to, Jess?
Hi, Jess. How are you doing?
Hi, Jess.
Hello. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, it's been a whole year. Had you on?
That's crazy. I don't know how we did that.
That is crazy, actually.
Yeah.
What did we even talk about? Oh no, Gorian Dre.
If people, by the way, indeed, want to listen to Jess talking to us before, they can go back and listen to our episodes about the picture of not Dorian Gray, but his lesser-known cousin, Gorian Dre.
He also has a very prolific Instagram.
He does. That's true, with, I think, just the three of us as followers.
It's a great Instagram.
He's not in an existential crisis at the moment, so he hasn't been posting as much, but I think it's going to come back.
He'll get there again.
Yeah. As soon as the seasonal depression sets in, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll be good.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be going.
Yeah.
So, yes.
And then we talked about vampires, the one before that, right? Was that the vampire one?
Oh, yeah, we did.
Gosh, you have been into vampire. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I know.
Vampires,
I forget which ones I've been on to.
And now demons.
Yeah.
Well, you were on tea break time travel for mummies as well. So,
yes.
We'll be coming up again on tea break archaeology, so watch out for that in the new year, which will be very exciting.
Yay.
Plugging that other show.
To talk about something slightly cozier than mummies.
Yes.
What can be cozier than mummies? They're wrapped up. I don't understand.
Knitting.
Do you think there's ever a mummy with knitting that's been mummified in knitting?
Oh gosh,
not that I've heard of.
Crossover episode.
Crossover.
Oh, that'd be cool though. I bet my boss would know. Maybe get her on the podcast too. That'd be fun.
To have a knitting mummy. Knitted mummies.
Yeah, knitting
right, we've
mummies.
gone slightly off track. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Us off track? I don't understand.
Last year.
No, we're right on track. I don't understand what you're saying. But yes, remind us who you are, Jess, and what your background is.
So I am an art conservator. I focus primarily on objects, so anything three-dimensional. And then my further background is I have a bachelor's degree in forensic anthropology. I have another master's in archaeology, and then my most recent master's is in art conservation. And so I've worked on a bunch of stuff for very cool places and museums. Currently, I work at a jeweler. So that's been fun and interesting, because I don't know if anybody's noticed, but the state of museums in the US is sort of sad at the moment. We've got a lot of funding cuts. So a lot of things have just not a lot of job opportunities. So if anybody knows anything, let me know. But yeah, but that's kind of what I've been
email
doing.
into Ammo Travel
search opportunity.
Just look up my LinkedIn. Just send me a message. It'll be great. But
we'll link it in the show notes for you all.
Yes. I'll put, I'll send my resume over. That'll be in the show notes too. That'll be great. But the most recent thing that I did that was really exciting was I went to South Korea for a workshop. It primarily focused on paper-based objects, so like folding screens and hanging scroll paintings and Buddhist paintings. So that was really exciting. I got to work with 30 conservators that were part of the workshop. And then we visited other conservators and their labs and their workshops. So we went and saw how Korean paper, hanji, is made, and how Korean remi fabric is made. I kind of forget what that's called. It'll come to me. But anyway, it was really exciting and inspiring. And
oh my goodness, that does sound very cool.
That sounds very,
so much
very
time
cool.
in Korea too.
How come you were? How come you were there? What was the what? Yeah, that just seems like such a random thing to do. Was it something that you searched out, or was it like an opportunity that came by?
It was like a weird sort of happenstance. So for my master's thesis, I looked at overseas Korean cultural heritage, and so anything outside of Korea that was originally Korean, and how Korea as a country works on conserving their cultural heritage. Like they put a lot of money and effort, a lot of fundraising, but they have a lot of like foundations and ministries that also help fund it. And their K-pop industry also helps fund it, which is very cool. And
seriously?
Yeah.
Like RM from BTS, there was 2 birthdays in a row that he donated. I think it was like $200,000. I can't remember what the Korean won was, but anyway, a lot of money to the Overseas Korean Cultural Heritage Foundation for like very specific projects. So one was at the Getty, and I forget what the other one was. Anyway, very cool. And like very interesting that K-pop like directly correlates to, the stuff that I do, which is fun. And when I was working at the Peabody Essex Museum, the curator there for Korean art, she forwarded me this application to this workshop that the Overseas Korean Cultural Heritage Foundation was organizing and sponsoring. And so I applied, I got in. This was like a full year ago. And so by the time that I went on this workshop in September of this year, I was no longer employed at the Peabody Essex Museum, but I maybe didn't tell them. I don't remember. So on my little certificate, it still says that's the museum I work under. And so they're like, yes, the girl from the Peabody Essex Museum. I'm like, yes, we definitely have a conservation department. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, wasn't it all awkward at all? Nope, not awkward at all. But it was very fun. It was wonderful.
So what kind of things did you learn at the workshop then? You said it was paper, but what other things, like did they show you any new techniques, anything like that maybe you hadn't seen before?
So as an objects conservator, I don't usually, I work on things with paper as part of them, but I don't always work on paper as its own self. And so that that alone was really interesting, like learning about the different paper dynamics. So like Japanese tissues and papers are very famous in the conservation industry because they have a really good tensile strength, and even when wet, they're really strong. But then Korean hanji paper is very different, and the production process is very different. So learning those differences and how it affects the structure of the paper was really interesting. And the other thing was how they assemble their folding screens. So it's different than how the Japanese assemble them and how the Chinese assemble them and how other cultures assemble their folding screens. So learning those differences was really interesting because a lot of Korean art, especially held outside of Korea, is typically conserved in a Japanese or Chinese style because it's just lumped together, but they have very distinct styles. And so being able to identify the differences is, really valuable for both both from a conservation stance, but also from like a decolonization stance.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. That's really interesting. And out of curiosity, just by the way, for our listeners, assume this episode, both Jess and Ash are quite in touch with things like K-pop, with Korean mythology, with various Korean cultural things. I am completely ignorant, so I'm going to be asking probably a lot of stupid questions, so apologize in advance. But I'm just curious, the folding screens, are those like the classic, what you think of the sort of things that you would get changed behind? Or am I thinking
so like any sort of like, you could use them as a room divider. They're used as like sort of decoration, movable decoration. You could change behind them. You could hide things behind them. I mean, they were kind of multi-functional, especially in Korean. Well, I think especially in Korean spaces, because they had ones for different purposes. And like there's a specific type of painting called the Sun, Moon, and Five Peaks. And this was exclusively used behind the king of Korea, or Joseon. And so that folding screen would only ever have been used for the king. Not even the queen would have access, like would get to sit in front of it. So like there's very specific ones, or there's just very simple ones that, just block a draft in a window, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I just find it really interesting that you sort of picture them immediately. Sorry, I know I'm going off on a complete tangent here, but like with the folding screens, but just that the folding screens is such a staple of Korean culture, of Japanese culture, of Chinese culture, but then it's not really as big a thing in like Western Europe, like it's sort of not.
It was until a certain point as well. And you've also got that colonial aspect of it where
we have the Orientalism and everything, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you often see them in like K-dramas where there's like the character who's the antagonist sits behind a screen at some point and is hiding their face. And they're like, oh, what's going to happen?
Yeah. Something suspicious happening behind a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the West has a different adaptation, like fire screens, were similar, or they'd have like a basically a folding screen to sort of insulate the fire around them, so it would stop the drafts from, the enormous stone mansions of, let's say, England or the UK.
Like if you think of Jane Austen, you think of Emma's father, where he's like, I need another screen, like there's a chill here,
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
They're just not
that was the exact example.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's great. And there was the 2020 film where they have them all moving. Yeah, brilliant.
Yes. He's so good in that role. Just to go completely off tangent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good link, though. How did we get from a Korean art conservation workshop to Bill Nye playing Emma Woodhouse's father?
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
Is it me, by the way, or do you hear music?
Oh, I think the gnomes might be holding their annual Idol festival. So I've been seeing like tiny posters around the lab for weeks.
Okay. Hang on. Let me just go and shut the door so we don't get distracted.
I actually quite like that music.
Oh, it's lovely music, but I just can't concentrate. And we really need to focus on the task in hand. We haven't been particularly focused so far this episode, and I feel we need to get back on track.
Well, that's us all over, really. So as always, let's start with our literature review.
Yeah, so I probably won't be much help in this particular section because, as I mentioned, I haven't read, although I do have, is the Apothecary Diaries Korean?
Japanese.
Oh, that's Japanese. Although I
Set in China.
Oh, well, that's even more confusing. Although I did read, one of my favorite books is a Korean mythology one, which Jess actually gave me for my birthday, which is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Which is really beautiful. But it doesn't have like a demon possession.
Well, they've actually got the Floating World series as well, which I think the next one, which is called is it The Demon and the Light? That comes out like as we're recording. It comes out the next day.
People listening to this episode will be going, I'm right.
Yeah. But they have, I think it is
waiting
actually
to read the Floating.
Me too. It looks really good. I really want to read it. And I think it's kind of like a Korean fantasy and mythology-inspired world, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I was waiting for the second one to come out because what happens is I read the first one and then wait, a year or two, and then I lose all interest because I get.
Yes.
And then I'm like,
exactly
I should
the
reread
same.
it. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to. So, yeah.
I can't. Because you sort of forget sometimes as well what's happened, I find anyway.
Yeah.
I have that pain with manhwas. I read a lot of manhwas. And I just, they're in seasons as well. So you have to wait like a year in between each season. And it's just, it's so painful.
For those
Even
of
a
us who
weekly
are
upload.
here background, what's a manhwa?
The manhwa is a manga, but it's the Korean version of a illustrated graphic novel.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, in Japan, you call them mangas. In Korea, you call it manhwas, which is manhwa. I might be pronouncing it completely wrong. And then in China, you call them manhua, so manhua.
Yeah, I would have to see the Hangul, the Korean writing, to know how manhwa is actually pronounced. But
yeah, I only know it
right.
as the English spelling. Yeah.
Yeah, but manhwa.
Honestly, you telling me, I have no idea. So.
Well, you're having an education right now.
I am learning so much.
Well, there's actually one manhwa that I've read, which it's a romance fantasy one by Anaras, and the illustrator is C.R. Jade, and I love their work. They're one of the most brilliant illustrators, I think, of manhwas I've ever seen. They're so detailed and so beautiful. It's called The Ghost Nocturne. Have you heard of it, Jess?
I have not, but I am adding it to my list because that sounds great.
It is. It's very good. You can get it online. It's not translated into English in print, but it's translated into English online. You can buy it as a comic thing. So you have to buy episodes, essentially. When they're on whatever currency they use in on the online kind of like Manta or anything like that, it's often like coins or bananas or so you pay money, but then it translates into a different type of online currency that you use, like diamonds or something.
Do they have bananas?
No, I just made that up.
Okay. Right.
It's often like really random stuff as well. And you're just like, what is this? I don't understand what this is. But it's a BL manga. So it's a boys love manga, which is a genre of manhwas. And it's so good because they deal with Korean folklore. One of the main characters is a demon, and they go through all the different type of ghosts. And it's a lot of like mystery. There's a whole mystery in the 3 seasons that are out, and it's very dramatic and big, and like the world is so intricate. So I would definitely recommend people read it if they want to know more about Korean mythology and how especially the supernatural creatures work, because it's so good.
Yeah,
sounds great.
Yeah, that sounds great. The other series that I would recommend if you want a fantasy is the first one is Wicked Fox and the second one is Vicious Spirits, and they're by Kat Cho. And so the first one focuses on a Gumiho, which is like the Korean version of a kitsune, a nine-tailed fox. And then the second one is more about a dokkaebi, a shaman. And so it's just, it's so good.
I like dokkaebis. I think there's something really cool about them.
Did you see Goblin, the K-drama?
No, my God. No, but I have to. I know I have to. It's on my list.
He's so cute. He's just the cutest little dokkaebi. And then there's a Grim Reaper. And then, so Matilda, this is your homework. You have to read it. You have to watch it too.
I was about to say, I'm making serious notes here.
Well, dokkaebis are in Omniscient Reader. Was it? Oh, gosh. It's Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint? Yes, Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, which is another manhwa. And they kind of control the world, which I think is great. Because there's just these little dokkaebis.
So I'm curious, in terms of Korean mythology and kind of folklore and how that ties in then to modern fantasy books, is it to the same extent that it is in the kind of Western world? Is it more tied to Korean folklore? Like if you have sort of, I don't know, the sort of popular fantasy books or manhwas, I think, as you say.
That's an illustrated book, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So the popular forms of fantasy fiction, for example, in the modern day, are they always quite tied into sort of more traditional Korean folklore and values and things like that?
No. I'd say no.
Yeah, I think it's split. Okay. Yeah, because, or like they take adaptions. And so like Like vampires is a really good example because there aren't really vampires in Korean mythologies in like the same way that they are in ours, but you see vampire stuff in like K-pop styling for like videos and stages and stuff. And then there's like different like vampire K-dramas, and I'm guessing there are manhwas as well, but yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
You get bits. Yeah.
So many. And mermaids as well, but actually mermaids again aren't in Korean folklore.
Yeah.
No. So, okay, if we think about our particular scenario that we have, the quest that we need to fulfill, so we need to think about, for example, Korean objects and sort of material culture specifically, and potentially like demon possession. So are there any examples of kind of these things? Any particular examples of kind of fantasy books or series that delve into these topics in a bit more detail?
One K-drama that I really like that sort of deals with, it's sort of a demon possession, but it's unclear if he's more of like a deity. But the drama is called Lovers of the Red Sky. Oh, apparently it was originally a manhwa. But yeah, it's the story of this painter and a blind astrologer, and one of them is possessed by like this evil creature. He could be a ghost, he could be a deity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he like, is it Jishin? A Gwisin?
Gwisin?
Which is like a type of ghost?
Gwisin, I think, is more sort of like the standard term for like ghost. So like if ever there's like a haunted building, it's got Gwisin. Or Gwi is like the shortened. What is that demon's called?
That sounds a little bit, I know this is extremely, this reminds me a little bit of a video that Ash sent me the other day of a woman saying how Kartoffel would be a really cute boy's name. Kartoffel means German and means potato in German. So that just reminds me when you said Pishu, I was like, oh, it's a cute pet name. But of course it's like means an actual word in another language. So.
Oh my God, I love it.
But then, okay, so possession of people is quite common. Is it also possession of objects is quite common in these books?
Well, sometimes you actually get Korean folklore figures like dokkaebi, which are like goblins, I believe, that actually become sentient because they were an object, or there was something to do with an object. So it's like the opposite.
Oh, they were an object and then they like come to life, like Beauty and the Beast.
But no, but yes.
Yes, and also no.
One said yes and one said no.
Yes, but also no. But like ghosts and things that they are like formed by the death of a human being, but or like you've got like a possession of an animate object, but like the dokkaebi are like part of like sometimes they can be like tools, like brooms and knives and things like that, and they appear. And their physical appearance can be different ways and stuff, so they're quite scary. That's the thing with like Korean myths, that they're so scary. Actually, I'd much rather bump into a Western Casper the Friendly Ghost than any ghost in Korean myth. It sounds terrifying.
Truly, yes. Yeah, just like mulgrishin are water ghosts, and so like the theory is that they're a spirit that died by drowning, but they cause you to drown, or like in a lot of the like K-dramas and stuff, like you could just be like standing near one and you'll drown on like dry land, and that's terrifying. Like absolutely not.
Yeah, horrifying.
Yeah.
There's also another type of, Jess, you might know the actual term because I don't remember the Korean, and I'm not very good at Korean at all, but there's a ghost of the outhouse as well.
Oh, I forget what it's called, but yes.
It's a Grecian, but I can't remember the beginning of it. But they basically, you have to knock 3 times because they might be combing their hair. So when you go into an outhouse, and a lot of old Korean homes they have an outhouse. It's very similar to kind of our houses back in, like the 1800s, 19th century. Mm-hmm. Like you have this kind of outhouse. Like I think of it like almost like you kind of, my grandma had one, so she's in a miner's cottage.
In our house at the moment, but with tools in it.
yeah. So like you have to knock 3 times, and they're combing their hair, and they have to stop, and then they'll like get themselves ready for you to like come in, but they can kill you if you don't knock. Like
if you surprise them,
kill you.
They hide from you.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you have to. So
Oh.
actually, what's really interesting. So I've been on a few ghost tours in Korea because, of course, I have. And I always go with this folklorist. His name is Shawn Morrisey. He's fantastic. He wrote a great book. I haven't read it yet because it only got released, I think, this week. But he talks about gwisin. So those are the bathroom ghosts. And apparently, there's still a large number of like older populations that will clear their throat 3 times before entering a bathroom, just because.
Yeah.
That's the
Such an
folklore,
established
like
part.
still alive, and like so, like every so often, like you still hear people clearing their throats to alert the gwisin that you're coming in, and they should hide, and give them a moment to.
I feel
right
like
themselves.
I'm going to start doing that. To be fair, I think I'm going to start doing that.
You know what?
It's like a polite thing.
Yeah, just
It
play
makes
the
sense
ads.
because also, if there's anybody else in that toilet, you know,
Yeah,
they know that you're coming. It's just polite.
So, I mean,
Exactly.
Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory actually had, like, reasons for his...
exactly.
I wanted to make a very quick side note, by the way. When you were talking about ghost tours, I went on one ghost tour with Jess in London with another friend of ours. And it wasn't like a ghost tour how I expected it to be. It was in, where was it? Was it in the London Dungeon, Jess?
Yeah, I think it was the London Dungeons, and it was definitely more like a haunted house kind of tour.
Like a House of Horrors thing, which
yeah, and yeah.
I think I got one corridor down, and then we had to like go through this thing, and I am very claustrophobic, and I was just like, nah, I ain't doing this. So this like axe murderer, was coming up behind us, and I basically said, excuse me, I have to get out of here, and he was like, oh, no problem, and like, and then I waited at the end, and Jess and our other friend continued on through, and I could listen to their screams from the coziness of the waiting room at the end.
Such a scaredy cat.
So, yeah.
I think I still have the magnet with our photos.
I definitely still have that magnet, yeah. That was before we went on the ghost tour, and I was still like, I'm not sure what's happening, but okay. And then we did it, and I was like, nope, this is not my thing.
Yeah, like walking the streets, like you get a little history, you get a little folklore, you get a little ghost stories. Like that's my kind of ghost tour. And that's exactly what it's called, Dark Side of Seoul.
Yeah.
Highly recommend anybody going to South Korea, go to Dark Side of Seoul. They do a bunch of different tours. This is not a paid promotion. I just love them. They're super nice. And they're super cool. And they tell me about the really scary ghosts. Like there's a traveler ghost that will find travelers and then attach themselves to the travelers and then follow them home and then cause all sorts of like havoc in your home. Yeah.
Like a personal poltergeist.
Yeah. It's I think it's the
Interesting.
Gekwi. I think that's it. Yeah. And it's talk about scary ghosts. Like I travel a lot, so then the idea that there's like a ghost like specifically hunting me, I'm like, no, leave me alone. Don't do it.
Please don't.
Okay, well, I really do want to work more on this, and I want to find out more about this, so we will chat further, but I admit I can still hear the Gnomish Festival going on in the background, and I kind of want to check it out.
Why don't we just go lie down on the floor for a while and watch a few acts, and then we can return refreshed?
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. So we're going to cut short this episode of Am My Trowel, but don't worry, we will be continuing next episode with part 2, where we will chat more about Korean mythology, objects, demon possession, and all kinds of fun archaeological, fantastical content. As always, please do like, subscribe, follow wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps to support the show. And if you're interested in hearing more archaeology content, make sure to check out the other shows on the Archaeology Podcast Network. If you have any episode ideas or just want to get in touch, you can find all of our contact information, as well as links and further information on what we discussed today in the show notes.
The Archaeology Podcast Network is 10 years old this year. Our executive producer is Ashley Eerie, our social media coordinator is Matilda Siebrecht, and our chief editor is Rachel Roden. The Archaeology Podcast Network was co-founded by Chris Webster and Tristan Boyle in 2014 and is part of Cultural Media and DigTech LLC.
This has been a presentation of the Archaeology Podcast Network. Visit us on the web for show notes and other podcasts at www.archpodnet.com. Contact us at chris@archaeologypodcastnetwork.com.